All right. So now we essentially have all of the tools that we really need to start working with Git and to build a workflow around it. And by workflow, what I mean is being able to, from start to finish, uh, produce a project. In this case, we're going to produce a very small little text document just to keep things really straightforward. But you have all of the tools you need to go forward. So let's look at that whole process right now. And let's take it from the standpoint that you don't have the code on your computer. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete this folder here. And from here, let's start. So I'm going to go over to my GitHub repo. And this would be like a GitHub repo that's provided by a teacher or by someone else, or even some open source project should you really want to play around with that. And what you want to do is on this green button, you want to clone or download. And until you have the HTTP, until you're using SSH, make sure this is on HTTP and go ahead and just copy that to the clipboard. So from here, you can go back to terminal and you need to decide where you want this folder to live. So I want this on my desktop. So I need to change my directory to my user folder / desktop, tab to complete. And now that I'm here, I can use the command git clone, and I'm going to paste that in. And it's going to clone from GitHub down to my local environment. So we've got the 0 to Git right here. Now I'm able to see and edit and play with this. So let's go ahead and let me just refresh everything. And I'm going to open up the README. So let's say in this README, we need some basic installation instructions because not only are we keeping track of some basic commands here, we need how to install. And maybe this is just the assignment that I'm working on. So I'm going to, before I even save this, head to my terminal. I lost my terminal. Where'd it go? Oh, it's probably behind here. Yeah, okay, there it is. I need to change my directory and go into that folder, which is a repo. And you'll notice that it only brings down the master branch, git branch. And the idea here is we want to experiment on other branches. We want to develop our feature on a brand new branch. And this is the idea of feature branch development. It's that you want to keep master clean from experimentation. You want to only merge into master what you have experimented and verified as good. So to do everything on a new branch, I need to check out a brand new branch, check out a new branch, and we will call this installation instruct. And I get the little reminder that I am currently on that branch here. So when I develop, I can write up those commands. So first, spelled properly, horribly twice, perfect. First, actually, let me preface this up here. directory. All right, there we go. So here we have everything set up. This is the command to run, and there from that's all the installation that's needed. Let me also add in a note of best practices. Use feature branch development. And I can show you the GitHub workflow. And copy this link up here. And because it's Markdown, I'm able to put in a link like so, and it comes out rendered like so over here. All right. So with this, I can understand the GitHub workflow. So the idea is you want to create a new branch immediately, like I've just done, and then we want to add those commits. We want to add commits, which we need to do. So I'm going to save, go over here, and git status. I see that yes, my README file has changed. I will git add the README file, git commit, add a message. It's always hard. Instructions when it breaks on the second line. Added installation instructions, and I also added the other thing, the link to the. Okay, so I've added my commit. And I could add more commits. I could make a few more changes and go from there, but I'm going to choose not to at this moment. And instead, I'm going to follow the rest of the workflow. Because the next thing here is to open a pull request. Now to do that, I need to git push my new branch to the origin. And the branch is installation instruct. So because I'm using HTTPS when I cloned it down, I have to enter my username and my password for GitHub. Now, I was using SSH in a previous video, which bypasses all of that. And if you want to start using SSH with GitHub, there's a really good instruction on how to get started with that. It's not necessarily advanced, it just takes a couple extra moments to kind of work through the whole process. But I want to mention it here, but I'm not going to go through the process with you in this video anyways. But I need to enter my username and then my password. And I store my passwords with 1Password, which is great for me because I only have to remember 1Password. And I can store some very secure passwords, and I will paste it in here. Now notice I just pasted. Also, if you just type your password, it actually doesn't show it. This is one of the features of Terminal that it doesn't want you to display your password for other users to see that are looking over your shoulder, which is nice. So press enter once my password is properly entered, and that new branch is there. So following the workflow, I need to open a pull request. So now that my branch is there, I will open a new pull request. The base is where it's going to go into, and the pull request should be from the installation instruct. Create that pull request, and then take a look back at the workflow and see what's next. So here's the conversation. So here's where other developers can discuss the code. Because right now we're working by ourselves, there's not going to be a lot of discussion. In fact, maybe the only discussion is going to be between you and an instructor or Um, you know, just the idea is we want to allow for a workflow that allows for other developers to step in, and we don't have to dramatically start changing how we do things. So the reason that we're showing you this way early on in your understanding of Git is to get you in the habit of just working with others, or having a workflow that makes sense to work with others. I'm attacked by cats. All right. So then the workflow from there goes on into deployment, which is we're not going to cover here, but it's essentially you can use GitHub and more specifically Git. Remember, these are two different entities. GitHub is just the website that allows for the communication and storing of your Git repo. Um, but you can tie in all sorts of deployment services to basically listen to your repo so that when a merge is made to your master branch, to the master branch, uh, it will grab that code and put it onto a live server. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that, and we're going to cover that way later. And it's really remarkable what you can do. There's unit testing. There's all sorts of crazy stuff that you can tie in with Git. And if you have time and just want to go exploring, try checking through the integrations and services, because man, are there a lot of different things out there. I've personally used maybe 5 of these, maybe 6. Well, okay, maybe more than that because I see about 5 on this page, or on this little list right here. But the point is, there's a lot of stuff that ties in with GitHub. For instance, you can tie GitHub in with Slack, and it's not right here, but you can tie GitHub with Slack. And one of the cool things is it will start having GitHub appear in Slack as a new user, and it will announce when pull requests are made, or when comments are made, or all sorts of different things. And it allows for the conversation to happen on Slack and also be integrated with GitHub so that your workflow is optimized for team communication. And I keep talking about workflow just from the standpoint that I once ran into a student, and this sticks with me, where they would open up an individual file with Dreamweaver, which already right there it was kind of like, why are you using Dreamweaver? But they would open up a file with Dreamweaver, kind of an older IDE that's kind of a kitchen sink solution to a lot of problems. Anyways, they would open that up in Dreamweaver. They would make their change to the file. They would quit Dreamweaver. They would rename the file, copy and paste that file to a separate portion of their hard drive, and then use another program to FTP, which is to remotely transfer that file to a live server. And then it's at that point that they were able to see their change and test it. And that workflow of opening and closing and renaming and changing, and opening and closing and renaming and changing across multiple files, like it made for a really poor workflow, and it just did not allow them to work efficiently. So things like in terminal, where I'm telling you to tab to complete. So git check out the master branch. Tabbing will complete that. These little gains will improve your workflow and make you efficient, and make you more valuable as a developer on what you can produce. So I kind of hope that helps you understand and wrap your mind around Git and what's going on here. If you have any questions, post comments and I'll get back to you.